This is how to create a vision board for 2025, plus a little bit of my own goals towards the end of this video. This is my vision board right here. A lot of people wondering how exactly to go about making a vision board. There's a difference in the way I've decided to make it for 2024 versus the way I've done it now. And I think it's a process that is like ongoing where you improve on your ideas. Here's what I did for 2024. You see these pictures? Finding the images is not the hard part of a vision board, but it was, for me, it was printing it out and getting it in the right size, because the first time I printed something out, I didn't really consider the size of the image. I just directly downloaded it, sent it to my Gmail, took it to the printers, and I got an entire sheet of just one image. And I realized I needed to find a way to format them, make so that I could visually know what size it was. So I turned to Canva and I was like, I know what size of like these photo papers are. So I knew they were going to come in sizes that I would recognize. But even with that, discovered the use of Canva to get the same size image for everything, a problem came up. I was supposed to post these onto a board and then just glue it, do the artsy stuff, and then have a board. But does this look like a board to you? No. What I ended up having was a photo album of my 2024 goals, which is why I needed to update my methods. I was about to do the same thing again this year, and I realized rather than printing out all these individual images, why don't I just make a poster? So I went to Canva and I said, I think a regular poster size is 18 by 24. I didn't know what that fully meant. I thought I understood. With me, one of my issues is with measurements, because even if I think I understand, I'm always blown away by the actual reality of it. And this is a huge poster. First, I'm going to talk about the logistics of how to make one, because I think that's what a lot of people are coming here for. They want to know how they're going to do it. I'm personally not an arts and crafty person, even though I think I am, but I'm more of a digital arts and craft person. So on the computer, I don't want to spend my time printing things, cutting them out, and then gluing them, and then getting the aesthetics right. I might as well use Canva too for that, because Canva also offers a lot of graphics. I could just throw them on, and I have some graphics in my picture too. And it was easier to organize and visually see what I was creating online. And I could just, it's not like I was committing myself to anything. I would put something there. I was like, I kind of don't want you there. I'll move it to the other side. Versus if I were trying to organize everything and then glue it, and then like, imagine if I had taken all of these and tried to put on a poster. I don't know how I would have done that, like in a nice way. And I think I don't want to deal with glue. I don't want to deal with cutting. I don't want to deal with scissors. I don't want to deal with paper. Canva was so much more of a clear and clean process. So that's how I would recommend that you do it. One thing you'll need to do is make sure that you know what sizes you're getting right. You need a place to organize all of that. I recommend going about a vision board as a poster. So when you go onto Canva, you'll already know what the poster size is if you're used to seeing posters. If you're not used to seeing posters, just look at my poster in reference to me. I'm 5'3". This is how it looks to me. And it's sort of like my torso, I guess. I don't know. Get an 18 by 24 poster, or another size of a poster that you know. But the point is, you don't want to choose like regular size paper. You don't want to choose regular size paper, because what vision are you seeing in that point? What are you going to see when it's so tiny, when your images are all trying to fit into this small space of this paper? You want to see your goals. If 18 by 24 is too large, go for a little bit smaller, but not so small that you have no vision for your future. Make sure you can see your own goals. It's not called vision board for nothing. Once you've chosen the size for your poster, next, when you're picking out your images, don't go for tiny images that, like, I know, like online on Google, when you're finding your images, that's where I was first of all finding my images. Was I just copied them and pasted it directly into my Canva. But when you are opening up a Google image, please just go for the biggest size that you can find. Don't go for like an itty bitty 100 by 200. I think all the images in my poster are like in the thousands, and that's why they're more crisp and clear. And I'm not someone who knows too much about the numbers of stuff when it comes to this. I just was eyeballing. I was like, okay, 400 and above. But the point is, be a little bit more aware that you're not just taking the tiniest of tiny images, because when you blow it out onto a poster, it's going to be too blurry, and you don't want that. Luckily, I did have one image that was sort of blurry. I don't really care. I don't care. As long as I know what it was what the image meant. Now that you've figured out your canvas that you're working on Canva, how do you pick what goes on there? I would not put a Lamborghini on my 2025 thing. One, I don't believe I can get that in 2025, but two, I don't want one. When you're picking your things, you want to be very intentional. And although I did say I don't believe I can get one, I think you should not limit yourself and put things only that you are, the current you is capable of achieving. Your vision goal can be a little bit more, what's the word, out there. You can dream for the stars, like you can aim for the stars. Go crazy, put whatever you want, right? But be intentional of what you want. Before you put your images and whatever, you're not just throwing in like Lamborghini, a yacht, a CEO position. Like, you're not just going wild. And this is a process that might take a while. Sit with who you are and what you would like to see for yourself in 2025. By the end of 2025, what would you consider to be a really good year for you? How would you like to look back at the year and be like, I actually enjoyed the year? Because it's really personal to you. Maybe I wanted to do pickleball. I don't even know what that is. I keep hearing it. Now it's infiltrated my mind. I don't know what a pickleball is. But maybe that's what I really wanted to do. Maybe I wanted to do that so much and then enter a tournament or whatever. I've never done it before, but I spent the year attempting to, and then when I look back, I got it done. That's what I mean. Be intentional. Sit and think. This is not something that, at least for me, it wasn't a lightning quick process. Like, it wasn't super speedy. I needed to work on my poster for days and days and days. At first, I kept it in my thoughts, like, what would I like to see for myself? What would signal that I'm doing something? Like, it really requires you to know who you are and what you want. Number 2, don't limit yourself. Don't deny yourself of miracles. By this, I mean, I have things on my vision board I feel are out of reach. Realistically, right now, if I wanted to do them right now, are out of reach. But I'm not going to limit myself. I'm not going to say that I can't do this because I do not have the finances to do it. Last year, I planned a weekend or short trip to Mexico for the first time ever, all while still not having the money. I was in a bit of a financially insecure moment in my life where I wasn't sure I could even afford this trip. And at first I didn't want to make the plans, but then I started making the plans, and then I started seeing the vision. I started seeing where I could possibly go, and I planned it. I got it all right, like to the point where I was like, should I do it now? Can I make this happen? Spoiler alert, the trip didn't happen. But I don't feel devastated because I didn't deny myself the opportunity of something that I really wanted, because I gave myself the chance to actually look into it, that the plans were not to waste. I could still use them for another time when I'm at a better place, when I can use the same ideas. And you know what happened at the time? A hurricane. Twice. The whole place was devastated. So it worked out in the end, but my planning, my dreaming, it wasn't shot. I don't treat my dreams as something that is time limited. Like, I have to get this by X amount of time, otherwise I'm hurt. I'm not hurt. The plan still exists, right? And if anything, it was really fun to entertain the idea. Like, I used to entertain, I used to go apartment hunting, going to tours, knowing full well I couldn't afford the rent for those homes. But again, I just didn't want to deny myself. I hated feeling stuck because I couldn't do it. I was putting myself out there so that I was taking the steps as if I could, I let life be the one to tell me no, not me like telling myself no before I even gave myself the chance. I'm not denying myself. So don't be afraid to dream for more and pray for more, ask for more. Sometimes when I'm at my lowest of the low moment in life, I literally turn to affirmations. Affirmations are not a bad thing, but subliminals, which some people are like, ooh, like law of attraction, ooh, like I will listen to them, because I feel like if you don't believe it can happen, then it won't happen. Like, you don't want to be your own anchor. So I would rather work on my thoughts, work on believing that I can have what I really want, see myself with it, because subliminally, unconsciously, your thoughts will dictate your actions. If you think you can't do it, you're not gonna do it. I think it was my brother. He said he was talking about some of his goals or something like that, and then he says, "Well, I don't think I can do it." And I said, I agree with you. If you think you can't do it, then you can't do it. So long as you think you can do it, you probably can't. He sort of took it the wrong way, as if I completely didn't believe in him. But my point was, if you don't believe in it, the chance of you succeeding in it is even lower. Like, why are you shooting yourself in the foot? And the last thing I wanted to say on how to pick things, yeah, so when you ask for more, pray for more, whether it's like in law of affirmations or in the form of a prayer. Don't be afraid to imagine like you being a recipient of a miracle. I don't know. I put myself in the path of receiving. Like, miracles will line up for me, but I had to be there at the step to receive it. You know what I mean? I had to walk to it. And the best example I can think of is I really wanted to do more like videos on social media. I think this was before the pandemic. Yeah, this was before the pandemic, before I even became like posting actively on TikTok. And back then I was like, it's just TikTok. And like back when it was a shame, but then in 2019 I kind of downloaded it and I was like starting to make content, and it was really cringy. And I kept thinking, what could I even talk about? What could I make content on? Like, what could I even say? And I didn't know, because I kept trying to think so much, but rather than thinking too much about it, I started doing, I started putting myself in the path of being someone who could discover what she could be doing in the future. I talked about anime, I talked about life, I talked about writing, I talked about books. And then come 2020, something comes along my For You page. My For You page is, hey, I think you've talked about books before. There's a thing called book talk. And it's just starting. And I'm like, whoa, like, I didn't know this was a thing. Like, I didn't anticipate that there was going to be a thing called book talk. I think I trained my For You page so that it would be like, hey, she kind of talked about books and writing. Maybe she wants to see more books and writing. Here's book talk. And then I saw more people. I had discovered something without knowing that I was discovering it. So I think it would have been a different story. Maybe it would have taken me much more longer to discover the online bookish community, because at that point in my time, I did not know that was a thing. Like, I didn't know people were talking about books on Instagram, because I think Bookstagram and BookTube were already a thing. I didn't know. Reading was very much a solo thing. That's why I think, like, when you dream, you don't need to know everything or how you're going to get it, but you are trying your best to move yourself in the direction that you really, really want. That when the thing happens, you're right there. You're already there. You're already posting content. Therefore, you're right there at the doors. And I felt like a world opened up. So that's why I'm saying you can put things on your vision board that are slightly out of reach. Now let's talk about why you want to make one. Vision boards aren't just aesthetically pleasing things to look at, and they are not miracle workers on their own. The miracle doesn't come from the Lamborghini being put on your... It's not like a bibbidi bobbidi boop. The magic is that you're communicating with you. You're figuring out what it is you want to see out there. You're telling your mind, your subconscious now knows, hey, she wants to do this. Your subconscious will think about how to align yourself. But the other part of the work is your conscious self. Your conscious self has to do some work too. She's gotta put in the work. Let's say I keep saying Lamborghini because I don't want it. But let's say I did want it. I would, at the very least, Google how much it costs. I would figure out how to buy one. Maybe watch how people got one. Maybe to see, like, what do I need? How much do I need? Know what your obstacles are. Let's go back to the example of the Mexico trip. Before I planned it, I was thinking, I can't do this. I don't have the finances for that. But then I said, okay, well, let's plan it and then see where the obstacles are. The obstacle was, could I pay for the hotel? Could I pay for the flight? Know what your obstacles are. Don't just have an invisible enemy. Know the things that are in place putting you up. Like, reach that wall. Don't say that you see the wall coming, walk up to it. Who knows, maybe there was a hidden door you didn't know, you couldn't see from that distance. Why I make vision boards is it's a guideline, and it tells my mind that this is what I want. It works so well because one of my things on 2024 was to go to Ireland. If I did not put that in my vision board, the chances of it happening was low, because I didn't have it in my conscious. Like, I didn't think this is a thing that I can do. It's so random to me. It's like, why would I go there? Like, this is not who I am. Like, I'm not somebody who just goes to Ireland. I know maybe for people it's easy for you guys to travel or whatever, but for me it's always just like I have this set ways of how I see my life, and it's just like, this is not me. This is like somebody who can afford like expensive trips and stuff. Like, I can't do this. This is not for me yet. And then I started planning. I booked the ticket, the flight, and I kept thinking to myself, well, if anything comes up, I can probably delay and push the ticket back or whatever. I don't know. Well, let me just do the research. And before I knew, I was showing up to that trip. If it were not on my vision board, I think I wouldn't have considered the beginning steps of planning it out or looking at it. I would have kept thinking, well, maybe another time I'll be at a better in the future, you know, not right now. I'm not that person right now. Like maybe in the future. Having it on there as a goal, it was like, this is my list of things I really wanted. So maybe prioritize at the very least attempting to make it happen. Plus, at the end of the year, this was a marker of like how much work I've done. This is what I really, really wanted to see in the year. I can use it as a reference, like how well my year went. If you're someone who always deals with a stagnant life, having markers as reference is really important because it'll show that actually you did achieve some things. These were your goals and you achieved like 50% of them, 60%. Like it gives you a feedback thing to reference. And it's so encouraging because you did something. Now, let's talk about my goals. My goals are categorized in 3 main ways: travel related, work related, writing related, or books related. You'll see like there's a lot of overlap. Here I have Scotland, and if you can see, there's a group of people sitting with their laptops. I want to do a writing retreat in Scotland with a group of my writing buddies. I don't know if I can make it happen, but one of the steps I've taken so far already was doing the research. It's not about just saying I don't think I can make this happen. I actually started doing the research to see like why can't I make it happen. Underneath it are 2 literary agents. I want to get an agent this year. I think my book is almost ready. It's not perfect yet. I'm still working on it, but I'm going to be using RevPit to help polish it up a little bit more before I start getting an agent. So I need to win RevPit. RevPit is, if you don't know, if you win RevPit, you get an editor who will help developmentally edit your book, I think basically for free. That's what I remember, the free editor. You have someone to work with for a couple of weeks, and then they'll showcase your work to agents or something like that. I don't know. I think this is a really important step for me because finances is a hard thing for me. I could use the help and the support, and I think my story is good enough. It should win. I feel it in my bones. After all that brain work of trying to believe, I got to a point where I believe, yeah, it can happen. One other thing related to books is YALLFest. Every year there's a bookish festival for YA books. I see the videos and it looks so fun. Apparently I'm a big YA reader. I thought I was slowly moving to NA, but that's not true. The stats say I'm mostly a YA reader, and I really would like to go. It would be so fun. It's also in the US and I'm in Canada. So I always was like, can I afford this? But again, I never really fully did the steps to look into it. All I was like, I want to go, but I don't think I can make it happen. This year, I'm going to actually research to see if I can make it happen. Move on to the pure travel-ish related things. Obviously, Scotland is here like for travel vibes too, right? I want to see it. Iceland is really up high on my bucket list. It looks like such a surreal, beautiful place, and in between them I put a drone because I want to get more footage. I want to record things. I want to make more videos, as well as writing, like written storytelling. Visual storytelling is a passion, and I would love to have better shots from the air. I would love to go back to China. China also seems like a magical place. It seems magical to me. I've seen so many things that are so different that I really want to witness. I've already been to the Great Wall of China, but I would not mind seeing it again. Here's Japan. There's this group that you apply for, and you can do like a cultural exchange. I'm gonna aim for that. I also think that this is a high probability that it can happen. Plus, for finances reasons, it would help ease the financial strain on me if I got this. Here you see this as Nihongo. I used to study Japanese. I want to continue studying it. I want to practice speaking Japanese a little bit more. Underneath, this is BC, British Columbia. I've never been to British Columbia. There's this cool expeditions going on, hiking treks and trails and whatever. I want to join this group that'll go through this specific trail. It's also pricey, but again, I put it on here because I really want to make it happen, especially more Canadian travel. This is Quebec. This one is a top tier bucket list because I remember the expedition costing in the thousands, and I just looked at them. I was like, I can't, but I want to make it happen so bad. This is so pretty. People from outside of Canada look at Canada as like a place of nature, but for me, a city girl, I never considered or associated Canada with nature. It was so boring. Also, I can't drive, so I don't get to see beautiful scenery. It's also hard when you come from a family that is not, I guess, immigrant families who don't know the country or don't know the travel. I guess it's more accessible to white families because they know that they just go to the cottage in the summer and whatever. I want to do more of those things. It's a barrier I'm trying to break through. There's a scholarship to study Chinese, and I would like to do it in Taiwan. I've done some research, but I want to go into further to making sure that I can make this happen. I would love to learn Mandarin. I took a Cantonese class before, and now I'm going to Mandarin. This is an artwork from one of the courses I'm taking from Doodle Warriors. I want to learn to draw. I've taken a class. I realized I forgot to learn. That doesn't even make sense. Maybe I'll talk about it later. But I've been practicing art, but I've not been learning. And now I'm learning. I think this was a post talking about 28 jobs or something like that you can do if you like books, because I want to work with books. I also want to work online on my laptop doing things like this, like talking about travel. I don't know how. Again, both ways. I want to work with books, talking about travel, whether that be travel writing or making videos or something else that I did not entirely consider. I also want to do some more laptop work because I need work. In my previous video, I said I'm working in publishing, but unfortunately I'm no longer working in publishing. That's kind of why I wrote work in publishing here, and there's books underneath. Maybe not directly with a company like as a salaried worker 9 to 5, because I need that space to be like to travel. And also I really don't work well with the 9 to 5 days a week, especially as a neurodivergent person. That is too much of a strain. I can't handle that, and I burn out really easily, so I can't do that. So I wanted to create some opportunity for myself as a freelancer to do this. I don't know how yet, but I am in the process of figuring it out. I also put this here. I am a magnet for financial abundance and prosperity and the money. At first I wanted to find financial security. Sometimes I get worried about my future. I don't know how I'm gonna make it. I don't know where the money's gonna come from, and I realize I'm kind of dreaming a little low, like go higher. And I want abundance, financial abundance and prosperity, so that's what I'm going with. Here it says free flight. I want to win a free flight, a travel credit card to do this. I see so many videos about it. I've already done, actually this is a separate video. I'm not trying to look for freebies in everything that I do. Some of these things I'm going to look into how much it costs me and realistically see, can I set aside some amount? Can I figure out how I'm going to make some amount? Because when you really want something and you can break down the steps that it takes to get to there, and for all I needed was $1,000 or $2,000, can I make that happen? When you really want something, you will make it happen. This is one of the images that was blurry. I put like a van and 2 people sitting on it, and then there's like this handshake because it's a partnership. I want to find somebody to travel Canada with, somebody who ideally has a van or a car and can drive. What do I contribute, you ask? I don't know yet. I'm gonna get my license, but I would like to go with someone because a lot of my plans in traveling Canada, I'm afraid, and I know there must be someone out there who just wants the company, and that's me. I'm the company. I can provide company. I can make the videos. I can pay for gas. Pick me, choose me, love me. This one's like a really big goal, because this is saying YouTube monetization. Really what I want is to grow my account and be serious with it. Unfortunately, as a Canadian, even if I make content on all these other platforms, Canada we don't get paid. Only YouTube pays us, and I think having a side income from YouTube would be great, but also I wouldn't treat it as the career. What I really want from YouTube is to grow my account, to be consistent making content. If I'm making content that I like and I'm building a community, which is why there's like a thingy here, people, I would like to grow this account. And that's why I put this. Maybe I should take my own advice of not dreaming too small. I'm dreaming big, because here I didn't put like full monetization. I did the halfway point because I didn't fully believe I could go from, where am I at now, 74 to 1,000 by the end of 2025. I feel like that's a harder thing for me to believe compared to 500, and that's why I'm like, if I'm struggling to believe reaching 1,000, how can I put that on my goal? I might as well put the one that I actually believe I can reach, which is 500. If I do get to 1,000, that would be really great though. And TikTok is on here because I love TikTok. It's really great for short form content and being silly, and that's where I go to be silly. The middle is just me standing looking out. I want to travel as much as possible. I want to see scenic, beautiful views. I want to capture more footage. I want to make videos. I want to see things. That's why I put 2025, because I'm looking out to 2025, and this is 2025, like beautiful scenery. I think that's all. If there's anything that you take away from this video or you found valuable, please consider liking this video, and then maybe even subscribing, helping me towards one of my own personal goals. Obviously, if you find my content helpful and you would like to see more, especially travel, bookish, writing related type of content, let me know if there's anything I can go in more depth. I think there's a lot in this video. If there's any questions, just ask in the comments. I'll reach out or answer to the best of my ability.